Good afternoon, guys. Can
Good.
you hear me? Good afternoon. Okay, can you hear me? Okay. So, section sections A, B, B, and C. Okay. Okay. So, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the legal medicine and medical jurisprudence subject. Okay. And this is a board subject. Okay, usually given during the third year. Okay. And as I mentioned, this is one of the subjects that are given in the board examinations. Okay. So for today, we'll have an orientation, what to expect, how you are going to be evaluated during this semester in while you are in legal medicine and medical jurisprudence. Okay. So share the screen. Hmm. Can you see the slide? Okay. So this is our first meeting. So we start first with an orientation. Okay. So legal medicine and medical jurisprudence is under the medical humanities department, and these are our very let's say very competent medical humanities faculties. Okay. So course description. Okay. By the way, legal medicine can be used interchangeably with forensic medicine. Okay. So, legal medicine and medical jurisprudence is an outcome-based, instructionally aligned course, okay, in the third year curriculum to equip the medical student with adequate capability to apply his knowledge in medicine to answer legal questions. Okay. It will also equip the medical students with adequate knowledge of different laws and legal concepts that govern the practice of medicine. The course will be in two parts, legal medicine and or forensic medicine and medical jurisprudence part. So forensic medicine will focus on medical legal aspects of death, physical injuries, okay, sexual assault or sexual crimes, okay, physical and personal identification, and forensic procedures such as basic and forensic toxicology, serological analysis, and DNA. Okay. While medical jurisprudence will focus on the laws and principles of laws that pertain to the practice of medicine. Okay. So these are the intended learning outcomes in forensic medicine. Okay, so today we'll have an explanation how you're going to differentiate the different types of evidence. Okay, how are you going to preserve uh, evidence as well? Okay, differentiate forensic medicine, of course, from medical jurisprudence. Discuss the medical legal aspects of identifications of the living and the dead, actually. Okay. The different aspects of death, discuss the medical legal aspects of physical injury. You will be you will learn what are the different classification aside from legal classifications of physical injuries. Distinction or the difference between gunshot wound of entry from gunshot wound of exit. Okay, and of course the different aspects, the medical legal aspects of sexual crimes, and also where time will allow us to be able to prepare medical legal report. Yeah, okay. And properly accomplish that certificate. Just have an idea how you're going to accomplish that certificate form, or what we call Form 103, Municipal Form 103. Okay. So these are the learning content of forensic medicine, okay, which is already the schedule of lecture is already posted on the Canvas, okay. Now, for medical jurisprudence, these are the intended learning outcomes, okay. You describe the scope of medical jurisprudence, discuss the legal basis for the practice of medicine in the Philippines, apply the laws and policies with respect to the contractual relationship of the patient with the physician, okay, the physician with the hospital, and the physician with other physicians. Okay, apply the appropriate legal doctrine in medical malpractice situation in the Philippines, and acquire the proper skill and attitude when called upon to testify in court. Okay. So these are the learning content of medical jurisprudence. We'll start with the Medical Act of 1959. What are the qualifications of medical practitioners in the Philippines? And then, of course, the rights and duties of a physician, as well as the rights and duties of patients, and the different relationship within a doctor-patient relationship, a hospital-physician relationship, and a physician-physician relationship. Okay, liabilities of physician and uh, definition and elements of medical malpractice, as well as the doctor as an expert witness and universal healthcare law, as well as the anti-privacy law. Okay, the delivery of contents. Okay, so for 2025, school year 2025, will employ a blended and or flexible teaching strategies. Okay. Uh, you can utilize online as well as residential face-to-face meeting with the students, okay? As long as we follow the CHED requirements, so 50% of total meetings will be face-to-face, 50% will be online. The learning materials will be uploaded on Canvas, which will be our uh, learning, what do you call that, learning application natin sa Canvas. Okay, so all PowerPoint lectures will be in the Canvas. Okay. Now it is at 2 units, 2 hours per week, usually held during Mondays at 3 to 5 in the afternoon. Okay. Prerequisites is students should have passed general pathology as well as gross anatomy. Okay, as I mentioned, it is held during Mondays, 3 to 5 in the afternoon. Okay. So for the first long examination, okay, this is your scheduled on August 20 to 29. This comprises 20% of your grades. Okay. So the setup for this academic year in legal medicine and medical jurisprudence is that 2 long examinations will be all about forensic medicine. Okay. So first long exam, I will be the only lecturer at that time for that entire first long examinations coverage. Okay. And then on your second long examination, it will be a medical jurisprudence schedule naman. Okay. And 20% as well, which will be held on October 8 to 15, 2025. Okay. And you will meet the other faculty that handles this uh, medical jurisprudence subject. Okay. So for the third long examination, okay, and 20%, which will be uh, on November 20 to 25. Okay. And aside from yours truly, we will have a guest lecturer in the person of Attorney Dr. Antonio Rebosa. Okay, he will be conducting the lecture or discussion on medical legal evaluations of sexual assault, sexual crimes, sexual abnormalities, as well as the new laws that pertains to sexual crimes. Okay, and then you have topics, the last two topics here of Attorney Apostol on medical jurisprudence. So, so this is the how you are going to be assessed, assessment of effectiveness of program delivery. So there will be three long examinations, which have 20% each, okay, on your the weight of the long examination, and then the final examination, which is usually summative from the beginning. It comprises 25%. Okay. For quizzes, okay, expect that quizzes will be given before or after the interactive discussions of the topics that are usually scheduled for that day. It comprises around 50%, 15%. Okay, and this also include your attendance for that day. Okay, usually the minimum passing level is 65%. Okay, so always expect that quiz will be given during our interactive discussion. Okay. For your information, the minimum passing level is, let's say, determined by all the humanities department faculty. Okay, pinagpapagura natin ng mga faculty natin yan para makakuha ng MPL. Okay, so minention ko na yan, expect quizzes to be given every meeting before or after the lecture. Okay. So these are some policies, okay, on examination, okay. Dati ginagawa natin yan 50% from legal medicine, 50% from medical jurisprudence, okay. There will be recall and repeated questions will have an MPL of 1, okay. And this was the last year's guidelines, and I don't know if we are going to allow to do feedback this year, okay. So students may request for clarification on the answer through the Canvas discussion board. Kaya kung may question kayo dun sa mga choices that were given or to the answers, we can have a discussion on it, okay, on the Canvas discussion board, okay. And in our long examination, expect that around 10 questions will be taken from the previous long examination. So for example, I will give 100 items for the first long examination. Okay. On the second long examination, it will be 110 with 10 questions that will be taken from the first long examination. Okay. Kung may third long examination yan, dadagdagan ulit. Okay. So in general, all initial exam must be at least 100 items. Sa amin, laging 100 items yan. Okay. For the finals, okay, tinatawag natin summative examinations, maabot yan ng 130 items. Okay. And remember, as I mentioned, legal medicine is a board subject and you must comply with these guidelines or directives. Okay. For classroom activities, okay, purely lecture tayo sa ating mga meetings, okay? And wala nang delivery of lecture rather during the synchronous face-to-face session, and no actual lecture will be conducted. Kaya nga interactive discussion. Okay? So the topics are already posted on the Canvas. You just have to read and study it, and then we'll have a discussion on the topics. Okay? Pwedeng maging question and answer tayo dun sa ating 2 hours sa schedule. Kung wala kang tanong, mag-antay na lang kayo ng quiz nyo. Okay? And definitely, there will be some, let's say, questions that will be emanating from the lecture topic. So be prepared to ask questions that you are confused about or it's not really clear to you. Pwede nyo itanong yan. Okay, during the 3 to 5 session natin. Okay? So I mentioned ko na yan that after this interactive discussion natin, 15 minutes will be allotted for graded quiz. Okay? 15 minutes before the time, around 4:45, meron tayong quiz dyan. Okay? Mostly nasa Canvas naman yung quiz natin. Okay? No remedial examination shall be conducted. Okay? So, kung kayo absent, if it's a valid excuse, doon sa mga long exam, pwede. Okay? So, long examination, pwede yan. Basta valid yung excuse nyo. Okay? And for sa remedial, wala tayong remedial exam. Kung bagsak ka, bagsak. Okay? So, there will be full transparency in assessing students, which is required in all departments. Okay? Of course, students have the right to know how they were assessed. Preferably, the department should secure the conforme of students on how they were assessed. Okay? So you as students, you have to accomplish the waiver every long examination. Nakasama na yan doon sa ating long examination, which will be face-to-face. Okay? Students who are not doing well in any subject must be informed every after an assessment period. Okay? Kung may problema na tayo doon, inform nyo lang yung faculty so that we can help you in any way. We can determine what is the problem. Okay? Bakit tayo bumababa? Okay? So, integrity is a premium in legal medicine and medical jurisprudence. Zero tolerance for cheating. Okay? 20% unexcused absences would merit failure. And the passing rate is 75%. Okay? And then, na-mention na natin yan, no removals or remedial examination. Okay? Wearing a prescribed uniform during classes. Okay? Kahit naka-online lang tayo, at least naka-prescribed uniform kayo. Lalo na kung face-to-face yan. Okay? So, miss exam, whether it's a miss quiz or a long examination, submit excuse letter to the department head through the coachment or submit your medical certificates. Okay? The department head will review and note if absence is excused or unexcused and forward this to the dean's office. And the dean's office will review and take note if you will be given that special examination. Okay, so the students, your responsibility to follow up with the dean's office within 1 week after submission to the department head. Okay. Of course, for unexcused absences, meron tinatawag tayong make-up fee is charged depending on the type of examination miss. Okay? No make-up fees shall be charged for those excused absences. I just don't know what is the amount. Okay? Attach necessary paperwork, medical certificate or proof of hospitalizations, as well as if there's a family death in the family, attach death certificates. Okay? Now, for your references, the official textbook in legal medicine is still the Legal Medicine by Dr. Pedro Solis. Okay, the last and latest edition is revised edition is 1987. Okay. Of course, you can use also other books like Legal Medicine Synopsis in Forensic Medicine and Medical Jurisprudence by Dr. Maligaya, 2007. Newer references like Legal Medicines, Volume 1 and 2 by Attorney Dr. Leo Olarte, 2020, and Legal Medicine Volume 2, uh, 2021. Okay. But it's almost the same as what is written in the Dr. Solis book naman. For medical jurisprudence, official textbook is the basics of Philippine medical jurisprudence and ethics. Okay. And the authors was Isabel Lucilo and Rebosa as well. Okay. Other references is the medical jurisprudence of Dr. Pedro Solis. Okay, 1988. And then jurisprudence review and commentaries of hospitals and Dr. Jurisprudence by Dr. Attorney Leo Lati as well. Okay. Extended readings. You can have this textbook of forensic medicine toxicology by J.P. Brothers, Rao, Nagesh Kumar. And then you have the medical legal investigation of death by Spitz and Fisher. Okay. Journals of forensic science, and then we have also web references, okay, which are all written here in okay, for medical jurisprudence. These are some extended readings as well. Okay, these are some of the uh, site where you can access these topics that are going to be given by Attorney Apostol. Okay. So for your lecturer, one that is speaking to you today, okay, as an introduction, my name is Dr. Vladimir Villacorte Villa Sr. I've been a practicing medical legal officer for more than 30 years and still ongoing. I'm a former member of the Philippine National Police Crime Lab or Crime Laboratory. Now it's called the Philippine National Police Forensic Group. Okay. I was a former chief of the Medical Legal Division then, later on chief director at staff, and then deputy director for administration of the national headquarters of the Philippine National Police Crime Laboratory. Okay. I was also a former forensic science investigation consultant at the United Nations Observer Mission in Georgia. I worked there for 1.5 years as a forensic science consultant. Okay. For Commission on Higher Education, okay, I'm an active member of the Technical Committee on in Forensic Science, a Technical Committee member in Forensic Science. Okay, I was one of the author of the proponents of Bachelor's in Forensic Science, a 4-year course being offered in a selected universities and colleges. Okay. Okay, I have my postgrad in Masters in Management with a doctoral units in Public Administration and a subject coordinator here at the UERM College of Medicine and in some schools as well, and a chairman and lecturer of legal medicine in the other schools. Okay, currently I'm the chairman of the medical legal department of the University of Santo Tomas Hospital. Okay. There's my email there also. The lecturer in medical jurisprudence, okay. You have Attorney Christine O. Apostol, MD. She's a doctor and a lawyer as well, and she finished her degree in College of degree in Medicine at De La Salle State University, and her College of Law degree, or let's say her law degree, okay, is at San Beda University. Okay, he's also a coordinator, lecturer in other colleges of medicine and colleges of law. She recently finished her master's in forensic medicine. I think it's in Florida, USA. So she will be handling purely the medical jurisprudence topics. Okay, this is our special guest lecturer. Okay, is Attorney Antonio Rebosa. Yeah, Antonio Alejandro Rebosa, MD. Okay, he's a graduate of University of Santo Tomas Faculty of Medicine and Surgery Also a graduate of UST College of Law. Okay, he's also a degree in Bachelor of Science in Criminology, and as I mentioned, he's one of the author of your reference book, Basics of Medical Jurisprudence. He is also chairman and a coordinator with other colleges of medicine and College of Law. Okay, so hopefully he will be meeting you later November. Okay, so that's our short orientation. Okay, so di ko alam kung meron tayong mga co-faculty na nandito. Okay, so let's check para makita nyo naman. Although you met them during your first year. Okay, so we have some of our members of the faculty here. Andyan si Dr. Cristina Sombilon, who is teaching bioethics. Nandiyan si Dr. Natividad Salazar. Okay, also. Mhm. And then we have, okay, Dr. Maria Cristina Cruz. Okay, she's handling the human life cycle. Okay, you met her during your first year. Okay, and then because some will then see para makita kayo. And then, sino pa ba? Tatlo lang. Ano dyan? Okay, wala na. I think that's it. Pero marami kaming faculty. Okay? There's a question already. Okay? Good. Hello po, Doc. May I ask po if it's a quiz later po and if Doctor po on Zoom yung quiz. For today, only for today, dahil orientation, wala po tayong quiz after the lecture. Okay? So, the first quiz will be given next Monday. Okay? Kawawa ako, bibigyan ko kaagad kayo ng quiz. Okay? So, it will be given on uh, July 21. Okay? So, check ko lang kung may kasama pa kami dito na hindi ko na knowledge. Uh, check lang. And then we can have our first lecture na tayo. Ha? Ah, okay. I didn't see anybody anymore. What August 25? I just want to ask regarding the schedule for August 25, since it was mainly there is a topic to be discussed, but it's a holiday according to our year level. A holiday by August 25. So, if there will be some public holidays or yung mga bigla na nagkaroon tayo mga acts of nature, okay? So we have to adjust our schedule and we can even have make-up lectures as well. Last year, ang ginagawa namin na nagme-make-up lecture tayo. But considering that there will be only one lecturer for one module long examination, pwede nating incorporate na yan doon sa mga topics that will be discussed. Okay? Magme-make up tayo. Instead of doing 1 or 2 hours lecture, mangyayari dyan, we have to uh, include that on our topics during do sa ating mga succeeding topics. Okay? So kung holiday yan, scratch nyo na yung meeting na yun, but we will insert it to other schedule natin. Okay? Good. Kita nyo na kagad. Okay, any more questions before we proceed with the first lecture? Kita nyo na yung email ad ko dyan. You can ask question there or sa Canvas. May inbox naman tayo doon. We can also have a discussion there or you can ask your question there. Okay, wala. So we proceed with our first uh, lecture, introduction on the history and development of legal medicine. Okay, so introduction and history and development of forensic medicine. According to Charles Green Custom, okay, we can never be fully in possession of a science until we know the history of its development. Okay, the relationship of medicine and all goes way, way back, and uh, these people that we are going to discuss today are those scientists that help in shaping up what is legal medicine to the present time. Okay, so we start with this. These are majority of the scientists, okay, who contributed in the development of legal medicine, and the first personified medical legal expert is Imhotep. Imhotep. He is not only a chief justice, physician, and architect of King Sosero of Egypt. Okay, he was also considered as the first ever medical legal expert and one that first recorded a report of a murder trial, which were written on clay tablet. And these were discovered during the archaeological diggings that were done in Egypt. Okay, he is also the architect of the first pyramid. Yeah, Egypt. Okay, in Babylon during the olden years, we have the king of Babylon who formulated the oldest known law code of Hammurabi. Okay, the Code of Hammurabi already dealt with specifically with the right and duties of physician, including malpractice. And it also includes criminal and civil liabilities of medical man. Okay? Penalties varies from social status of the patient, and it ranges from cutting of the hands of erring physician to monetary compensation. Okay? In India, the Code of Manu or Dharma Sastra. Okay, this is the first legal code of India. Okay, and it already includes damaging medicinal plants. Let's say poison. Okay, poisonous plants is already punishable. The use of these poisonous plants. Okay, child marriage were not allowed. Punishments for different sexual crimes like adultery, seduction, incest, as well as unnatural sexual offenses. The Code of Manu. Okay. In Greece, you have the Greek philosopher Aristotle who fixed animation of fetus. Okay. Nagko-collect yan ng mga fetus and even up to 40 days after conception. Which contrary naman dun sa kanyang colleague na si Hippocrates. Okay. Hippocrates, primarily he described the lethality of wounds and he separated the discipline of medicine from religion. Okay? Believing and arguing that diseases was not a punishment inflicted by the gods, but it is due to some underlying abnormality in the body. Okay? Of course, Hippocrates is well known for his Hippocratic oath that includes the promise not to administer poisons or to procure abortion. Okay, he is hailed as the father of medicine. Okay, in Syracuse, you have Archimedes. Okay, he is considered as the first forensic scientist when he was, let's say, ordered by the king of Syracuse at the time, Hieron II. He was tasked to analyze the gold crown the king was wearing to determine its purity. Okay, so without destroying the crown itself, Archimedes was able to detect the any he was able to detect that the gold crown was actually a pure gold. Okay, so he was given the title of first forensic scientist at that time. Okay, in Rome, remember the name of Anticius. Okay, even in your board examination. Okay, lagi silang binibigay ng board of examiners. Okay, he's a Roman physician who examined the body of Julius Caesar, and according to the postmortem exam conducted, Julius Caesar sustained 23 stab wounds all over his body, and he concluded that out of the 23 stab wounds, only one is considered fatal. The one that penetrated the first and second ribs. Okay, tumama sa lungs. Pliny the Elder, okay, also in Rome, he wrote about suspended animation. One of the, suspended animation is one of the three kinds of death. Okay, sudden natural death and as well as suicide. His argument is that pag nalunod yung lalaki sa tubig, eh, siya ay nakalutang na nakahiga. He floats on water on their backs. But when women drown in water, usually they face downwards. Okay, nakadapa daw sila. Sa lalaki, nakahiga. Okay? Also, some emperors like Emperor Justinian who practiced medicine and prescribed penalties as well. And he believed that physicians are not ordinary witnesses, but give judgment rather than testimony. Okay, so another Roman emperor, Charlemagne, produced capitularies by bishop that already mentioned the expert medical testimony of doctors. And these are required in cases that involve wounding, abortion, rape, incest, infanticide, and suicide. Okay. Yeah, also in Italy, you have Hugo de Luca, who presented a medical certificate as evidence, as documentary evidence in a court. Okay. Also, Bartolomeo de Barignana performed an autopsy as per order of the court in case of a suspected poisoning. Okay. In Germany, you have Galen, who described the difference between lung tissues before and after birth. Okay, siya yung nag-aral ng mga stillbirth at the time. Okay, and also Sonnenkalb, also in Germany, you have Sonnenkalb who introduced the hydrostatic test in the test for live birth. Okay, parang ka-idea kayo niyan. Hmm. If there's a suspected, let's say, live birth, tapos i-declare ng doktor na stillbirth siya, ginagamit pa rin natin yung hydrostatic test. Even I, in my practice in legal medicine, during autopsy, if it is suspected live birth yan, tapos naka-declare na stillbirth, we usually examine the lungs. Okay, the lung tissue, and this will give us an idea if the baby was born alive or baby was born dead. Okay. Ambrose Pare produced a book on medical legal reports, studies of deaths caused by lightning, and he differentiated antemortem injuries from postmortem injuries and poisoning that caused by carbon monoxide and corrosives. Okay. Severin Pinu, Severin Pinu is the only scientist here that wrote a book on defloration. Defloration is the term that denotes laceration of the hymen as a result of sexual intercourse. Mamimichan sa sexual crimes. He also studied virginity and he proved the existence of the hymen. Yan si Severin Pinun. Okay? Paulo Zaquias, he published a seven book series of questiones medico-legales, okay, or questions in medical legal, and he is still hailed up to the present time as the father of legal medicine. Okay, course, you have Casar described the earliest recorded Maltese medical legal report where medical evidence established that a male partner was incapable of sexual intercourse and this resulted to the annulment of marriage. So ito yung si Casar, siya naman ang nag-prove ng impotency. Okay? Or let's say, as a defense dito na ginamit. Okay? For annulment. Giovanni Battista Morgagni, the father of modern anatomical pathology, he dissected bodies, around 640 bodies. Okay, and these were published on a book. All the postmortem dissection he had conducted, and during the autopsy, he was able to compare the alterations with the symptoms of the diseases. Okay. And then you have the father of toxicology, Matthew Joseph Buenaventura Orpila, a Spanish-born French toxicologist and chemist. And he was the one that created new techniques and refined existing techniques in his treatise. Okay? So, siya yung nag-refine ng Mars technique in determining, enhancing the accuracy rather of the certain poisons like in cases that involve arsenic acid. Okay. He became famous when he was tasked by the local officials at that time to analyze the food that was suspected to contain poison that killed Mr. Lafarge. Okay? Ang suspect nila, yung asawa, si Marie Lafarge. And based on the examination of Porfila, he was able to isolate a large amount of arsenic acid on the food that was given to the husband. So the wife, Marie Lafarge, was charged with murder. Okay, at the time, murder, and she was convicted actually. Okay, Johann Ludwig Casper, the friendly ghost. Okay, he published forensic dissection in the 1850s as well as practical manual in forensic medicine. Okay, and also he published a handbook titled Casper's Dictum of Putrefaction. Okay, when you say putrefaction, is it a sign of decomposition, and this is where the body become, let's say there will be some changes in the color and physical appearance of the body, and there is also what you call evolution of foul smelling gases. And yung putrefaction, breakdown of complex proteins into simpler components associated with the evolution of foul smelling gases. Yan yung study ni. May siya mga pictures or let's say sketches of the changes that happen to the internal organs, okay, during the decomposition process. Okay. And then we have Alphonse Bertillon. Alphonse Bertillon is a French police officer and biometric researcher. Okay. He introduced the first system of anthropometric identification, or what you call Bertillonage. Okay. He was able to help the police in identifying probable suspects based on the physical stature or the measurement of the body of the suspects. Okay, and by that findings, he was credited as the father of criminal detection, and also sometimes he was also hailed as the father of forensic medicine. So yung anthropometric measurement natin, yung ginagamit natin sa mga measurement of height, whether standing height, sitting height, wingspan, okay, length of the left foot, length of the right ear, and many other types of measurement. Head circumference kasama din. Okay, that is introduced by Alphonse Bertillon. Then his colleague in England, Francis Galton or Francois Galton, an English anthropometrist, realizing that measurement of the body alone is not accurate or not sufficient enough to make an arrest of an individual, he introduced fingerprint identification. Okay. And based on his studies, there are three general types of fingerprint impression. Okay. And there is what you call the arches, the whorls, and the loops. You will learn it in physical identification. And he's hailed as the father of fingerprint identification. Okay, yung fingerprint identification natin is the most reliable method of identification. Okay. Of course, sa blood stain analysis, si Leon Lattes. Okay, Leon Lattes. Okay. He devised a simple procedure for determining the blood type of a dried blood stain. Okay, so mga simple procedures lang yan that you will learn in a topic of forensic procedures like serology. Okay, and it only, let's say, nag-emanate lang yan sa ABO typing na na-discover o in-introduce ni, sino yon? Si Carl Landsteiner. Carl Landsteiner is the father of ABO or blood typing. Okay. I, I'm sorry to acknowledge, nandiyan pala yung chairman namin kanina, si Dr. Sheila Yap. I was not able to see her picture there. Okay, I'm sorry, ma'am. She was also present during the orientation. Okay? Okay, so the Edmond Locard, okay, is considered as the Sherlock Holmes of France. Mas si Sherlock Holmes kasi yun yung fictitious character that na-idolize dyan sa Scotland Yard. Okay? And he has lots of techniques in solving crimes, in recovering physical evidences. So Edmond Locard became famous when he introduced the Locard's exchange principle. And based on this exchange principle, he mentioned that the exchange of materials between two objects that occurs whenever two objects come into contact with each other or with one another. Or let's say simply speaking, every contact leaves a trace. Pag may hiwa kang bagay, may naiwanan ka doon na fingerprint, meron ka rin kinuha doon sa object na yan. Okay? So, Edmond Locard also was the first, let's say, forensic expert that established a crime laboratory in a small attic in a police station. Okay. And the police realized the importance of his expertise. He was called to help and use his tools in recovering physical evidences and identifying physical evidences. And up to the present time, he's considered as the father of the crime laboratory. Okay. And then your father of ballistics, you have Calvin Goddard. Okay. Calvin Goddard used only an ordinary comparison microscope. Okay. Crude pa yan. Very crude pa yung comparison microscope na yan. And using this, he was able to determine if a bullet was fired from a specific gun. Okay? And he published a study of tool marks on bullets. Okay, siya ang nag-introduce niyan sa isang bala na slug, fired bullet, makakakita tayo dyan ng mga characteristics which is very, let's say, which can only be seen on a particular gun. Okay? Just like what is being used up to the present time. We have this modern comparison microscope. We are now using the uh, integrated ballistics identification system or IBIS. So if you buy a gun and then you have a firearms license, okay, meron kayong record dyan sa crime lab including yung bullets na pinutok nyo doon. Okay, the three slugs and shells that were collected when you bought the firearm, these are already in the database, and once you use that firearm and it was recovered in a crime scene, lalo na yung mga indiscriminate firing, you can easily be identified. Okay? And then you have the coroner of the stars. Pang showbiz naman to, si Dr. Thomas Noguchi, okay, also known as the coroner of the stars, but he is not actually a medical doctor, okay, but more of a PhD and a criminologist as well. And he was called by the court to do psychological autopsies on different Hollywood actors and actresses. Yan, like Marilyn Monroe. He was also called to do psychological autopsy of Michael Jackson and then Robin Williams as well, and many others. Okay. And he was born in Taiwan and he grew up in the United States. Later on, he changed his name to Dr. Henry Lee. Okay. He last visited our country, Philippines, in 1995. 1995. He is my guest resource speaker ko yan sa medical legal convention we held in the Manila Hotel long time ago. Okay? So, Dr. Henry, author of many crime scene investigation books. Okay? Napakarami niyan. Albert Osborne is the father of document examination. Okay? So, yan yung works niyan, yung mga to prove that the document was signed or prepared by one person. This work led to the acceptance of document as scientific evidence in court. Nandiyan yung mga signature forgeries. Okay? Yung mga fraudulent checks as well as yung mga tinatawag na insertion sa mga documents as well. Okay? Even typewriter identification then. Okay? Albert Osborne. Code of Ethics. Of course, this was published by the World Medical Association in Finland, in Helsinki, Finland. And then, of course, now the latest in science, in scientific investigation, rather, you have the father of DNA, fingerprinting, Sir Alec Jeffrey. Okay, an ordinary Leicester University professor in England, and he was called by the police to use DNA fingerprinting in solving or identifying who among the two suspects they arrested was actually the perpetrator of the crime. So using the DNA evidence recovered from the suspect, comparing it with the evidence on on the crime scene, Sir Alec Jeffrey was able to prove that one of the suspect was the real perpetrator of the crime. And from then on, all investigation done by the police, DNA was used. Okay. And of course, even in other countries like ours, well, now we are now using this DNA fingerprinting as well. Of course, this Lawrence Farwell introduced brain fingerprinting, still not as globally accepted as DNA fingerprinting. Okay, so I think these are the personalities that you should remember that help in shaping up legal medicine of what is used, what is it today. Now, what is forensic? Okay, so forensic comes from Latin adjective forensis. Forensis means forum and or debate. Okay, so anything belonging to the core of law. Okay, the word forensics is used now to describe those debates that occur in courts of law. Okay, so during the time of the Roman Empire, a criminal is charged so by a certain accuser, they will present the case in a public forum, okay, in a town hall. And both of the person, the accuser and the accused, okay, will give speeches and give their side of the story. And if they have physical evidence, they could present it during that argument. And individual with the best argumentation would determine the outcome of the case during the Roman era. Okay, but nowadays, this argument usually usually it is done now inside the courtroom. We have the judge, we have the prosecutor, we have the defense counsel, and we have those different types of courts as well. Okay, later on. Now, some definitions, okay. Legal medicine, as I mentioned, it can be used interchangeably with forensic medicine because it's apply medical knowledge, okay, to legal cases. But yung forensic medicine, to broadly explain it, applies medical science to elucidate legal problems. Now, what is medical jurisprudence? Okay, so some medical jurisprudence, it denotes knowledge of law in relation to the practice of medicine. So it's concerned with the rights, duties, obligation of medical practitioner with particular reference to those arising from doctor-patient relationship. So pag sinabi natin forensic medicine, yung doktor, okay, may ginawa siya, let's say, na nakamatay ng tao. Okay, during the autopsy, makita natin bakit namatay. May mali bang ginawa yung isang doktor. So we apply medicine and then case will be filed. That is where we to help in the elucidation or administration of justice. Okay, so pagka kinasuhan na yan, that is where medical jurisprudence is applied. Denotes knowledge of law in relation to the practice of medicine. Okay? Yung forensic science naman, application of science to those criminal and civil laws that are enforced by police agencies in a criminal justice system. Yun naman, synonymous naman siya with criminalistics. Okay? Use of science and technology to enforce civil and criminal laws. Okay? Of course, under forensic medicine, nandiyan din yung forensic pathology. Okay? Just like this morning during our CPC, explained to the group, to the attendees that forensic pathology is in our setup here in the Philippines is under the legal medicine division. Okay? Under isang section namin yan. So in forensic pathology, this is where you apply the knowledge of pathology. Yung GenPath natin. General pathology to aid in the administration of justice. Okay? Now, other authors, of course, yung ating reference book o yung textbook natin, si Dr. Pedro Solis, ang definition niya ng forensic medicine niya dyan, it is a branch of medicine that deals with the application of medical science for the purposes of law and in the administration of justice. Okay, almost the same naman siya with international authors like Forensic Medicine by Simpson, deals with the interaction of medical science with the law. Forensic Medicine by Gradwell, application of medical knowledge to the administration of law and furthering of justice. Okay? Yan ang pinaka-essence ng legal medicine and or forensic medicine. Now, one who practices legal medicine or forensic medicine, we call them medical legal officer. Sa Asia, ang tawag sa amin, medical legal officer. In other countries, okay, sa Europe, pwede siya sa UK, tawag sa kanya forensic medical specialist or medical jurist. The United States, okay, even South American countries, they are called medical examiners and or coroner. Okay, mamaya di-differentiate natin yung medical examiner from coroner. So, anong ginagawa ng medical legal officer? So, primarily, they conduct autopsies. Okay? Conduct autopsies to determine the cause, manner, and mechanism of death, as well as the approximation of the time of death. Okay? Yan ang dirtiest job ng medical legal officer. Conduct sila ng autopsy, whether a fresh body or decomposing bodies or yung mga skeletal remains as well. Andiyan yan, examinations of skeletal remains. Okay, just like now, yung mga recovering ginagawa sa Taal Lake, so nandiyan yung mga medical legal officers ng PNP that will analyze the skeletal remains kung may ma-recover talaga. Okay? So, examinations of victims of physical injuries. So, dito yun, yan pinakamaraming kaso sa medical legal. May example, mauling incident, yung mga motor vehicular accidents, magkakasuhan, okay? Mhm. So, ang mangyayari dyan, yung uh, the medical legal officer will determine if it is light physical injury, less serious physical injury, or serious physical injuries. Okay? So, dun magbe-base yung ating mga investigador. Of course, nag-examine din tayo ng mga victims of sexual abuse like rape. Okay? Kaya yung mga hospitals ngayon, mayroong a child protection unit so that any victims of child sexual abuse or yung mga common sexual abuse in adults na-examine natin. Okay? Examination of arrested person and a suspect for detention or for release. So, bawat suspect of person that were arrested for some case, okay, criminal case, they are subjected to medical legal exams, guys. Ini-examine yan. Baka tinorture yan eh. Okay? Or bago sila ilabas sa kulungan, merong medical legal examination yan. Okay? So, meron tayong mga sensational cases dyan. Naka-examine tayo ng 2 ex-presidents, 5 senators, okay? May incumbent senators pa nga ngayon. Okay? So, isa natalo na. Okay? So, mga nagdaan yan sa medical legal. Okay? Sabihin nyo, ilang rape cases na kaya na-examine Dr. Villa Senior? So, for rape cases, I have examined more than 15,000. 15,000. Sa autopsy, more than 35,000 cases na. Yan. Okay? And still ongoing. Going pa rin yan. Okay? Exhumations. Exhumation is where you recover the body from its burial site. Hinuhukay mo yung patay, nakalibing. Okay, if you remember the Maguindanao massacre, around 58 bodies yung nilibing nila doon sa hilltop. Okay, sa hilltop. So, pag hinukay natin yan, exhumation yan. And then we do autopsies. Okay, mention ko na yung skeletal remains. In-examine natin yan for identification purposes, determine the sex, height, age, as well as the probable cause of death. Okay? Serological exam, yung mga blood examinations, body fluid, seminal fluid examination, as well as yung mga stains, blood stains, seminal stains. Of course, DNA analysis. Okay? Yan yung mga na-recover natin. Ayan, yung mga skeletal remains na yan, the best procedure to do is to do DNA examination. Paano natin ginagawa DNA dyan? We cut the long bones. We cut the long bones, you split the bone marrow inside that long bones. And then this will undergo DNA analysis. Okay? Histopath, of course, nandyan yung ating mga forensic pathologists. Okay? Disaster victim identification is also called mass casualty identification. Kung maraming namatay, kailangan yung recovery of the bodies and then collection of evidence for identification like fingerprint, photograph, okay, and then DNA. Okay, saan ba na ginawa natin yan? Mass casualty sa Yolanda type, super typhoon. Sa mga landslide victim as well. Okay. And of course, as medical legal officer, your cases, gagawa ka ng report dyan, submitted sa investigator and the court. So, you are summoned by the court. Okay? So, madalas dyan, we have to attend court duties when summoned and conduct, usually we are presented as expert witnesses, conducting lectures, training, seminars, the field of forensic medicine, and Kung member ka ng Philippine National Police, uh, you can also act as a member of the scene of the crime operation team during that investigation. Sa NBI, wala silang SOCO team. So the medical legal officers of NBI, they just wait for the bodies in authorized morgue where they do that investigation. Sa pulis, kasama yung doktor pagka mga death investigation. Okay? So these are the different roles that the medical legal officer usually perform. Now, as I mentioned earlier, distinction between a coroner system and a medical examiner system. Okay? A coroner system was introduced in the United States in the 1600s. Okay? And usually a coroner is elected into office. So ini-elect yan. So fixed term yan. Either pwede siyang maging 2-year term or 4 years ang kanyang term. Okay? And usually yung coroner does not need a medical background. Usually administrative yan eh. In charge lang siya ng mga judicial inquiries, handling of personal belongings, then records keeping, yung mga death certificate, yan ang trabaho ng coroner. Okay? But nag-evolve na rin yan through time. Okay? So, comparing to a medical examiner system, this was introduced in the 1900s and they are usually appointed by the government. So, walang specific term yan. They can hold office as circumstances allow hanggang makarating sila sa retirement age. Okay? Or kung sila ay matanggal sa serbisyo. Usually, they are licensed physician with a background in forensic pathology. And they are the ones really conducting that investigation. Sila nagpe-perform mga autopsy.
Recording stopped.
Okay? And of course, yung mga histopathological tests and toxicological tests. Okay? As well as DNA. So, in the Philippines or in other Asian countries like ours as well, we practice yung medical
Recording in
examiner
progress.
system. So we go to be specific, medical legal system. So we are also appointed. When I was with the Philippine National Police, we are appointed. Okay, to the police, the NBI, ganun din, they are appointed as well. And until their compulsory retirement. Okay? So, kailangan yun. Yan ang difference between a coroner. But nowadays, as I mentioned, nag-evolve na yan. Yung mga different places in the US, yung mga different state or cities, they are hiring yung medical examiner na siya, i-hire nila as coroner. Big advantage yun eh. Kasi doctor na siya, at the same time, siya na rin yung siya yung administrative officer and medical legal officer or medical exam. Okay? So, mas advantageous to sa city or the state. The state. Okay? Now, distinction between ordinary physician and a medical legal officer. Okay? So, for the exam din to, nakikita. So, pag sinabi ordinary physician, yung mga fresh graduate natin, okay? License na, pumasa ng PLE, okay? So, an ordinary physician sees an injury or disease on the point of view of treatment. Paano mo siya ginamot? Okay? Ano yung purpose mo? You examine the patient and then you arrive at the definite diagnosis. Okay? So, kailangan pag dumating sa yung pasyente, chief complaint, tapos mga diagnostic procedure gagawin mo, and then kung anong gamot yung ipiprescribe. So sa medical certificate, minor or trivial injuries are usually ignored or it is not included in a medical certificate. Okay? A medical legal officer, on the other hand, sees an injury or disease on the point of view of cause. What caused the disease? What caused that injury? Okay? The purpose in examining patient is to include all bodily lesions in his report. Kahit gaano kaliit yan, minor, trivial injuries, they are indicated on a medical legal report, testify before the court or an investigative body. So yun yung mga justice courts na yung mga court of justice natin yan, justices. And then yung investigative body, yan yung mga Senate Blue Ribbon, congressional hearing, yan yung mga investigative body natin. Okay? So all bodily injuries are recorded. Okay? Because these injuries may be proofs to qualify the crime or justify the crime. Okay? Yan yung difference between the two. Lumalabas yan, yung purpose na yan, yung dalawa. Okay. Now, what are the different aspects of forensic medicine? Ito yung mga topics natin na itatackle o i-discuss. Okay? Yung mga major topics natin, identification, death, physical injuries, sexual crimes. Okay? Now, what are those branches of law where legal medicine may be applied? So it may be applied in civil law. Okay? Like for in the determination of civil personality, male or female. Okay? Marriage or legal separation. Yeah, just like yung isang scientist natin kanina, di ba? Sineperate because of impotency, nagkaroon ng annulment of marriage. Paternity and filiation. So, nandiyan who is the rightful father or legitimate ba yung anak or illegitimate. Diyan. Okay? Civil o yan. Criminal law, of course, diyan maraming ginagamit yung legal med. Nandiyan yung circumstances affecting criminal liability, the crime against person. Okay? Then yung tinatawag nating crime against chastity, yung mga private crimes. Okay? So yung yung rape, by the way, dating crime against chastity yan, guys. And now, it is already considered as crime against person. Okay. Remedial law, of course, dito yung mga violation ng mga rules on evidence. Okay, because remedial law deals with rules concerning pleadings, practices, and procedure in all courts of law. Okay, the rules on evidence. And then you have special laws. So, nandiyan yung Dangerous Drug Act, kung alam niyo yung Oplan Tokhang, nagkakaroon dyan ng collection of urine sample, alamin kung may drugs sa katawan yung suspect na namatay sa bypass operation. If the crime committed was drug-related or not. Okay? Youth and Child Welfare Code, nandiyan yan yung mga child abuse, nandiyan yung domestic violence cases. Okay? Insurance law, of course, autopsy is required if a person that recently died, let's say have a life insurance, kailangan dyan yung autopsy report so that the beneficiaries will be able to claim, okay, the insurance. Code of sanitation is actually PD 856, okay, Presidential Decree 856, so the Code of Sanitation primarily deals with the disposal of a dead body. Okay, so nandyan yung mga different procedures of disposing them and then the conduct of autopsy, who are authorized to conduct autopsies. Okay. Labor Code, Employees Compensation Law. So, medical legal can be used in proving that the injuries or death sustained by the laborer is job related. Okay? Nalaglag siya sa scaffolding habang may ginagawa sa building, namatay, or nagkaroon ng serious injuries. This will be included sa document na kailangan dyan, medical legal report, in order that they will be able to gain compensation. Okay? So, dito natin ginagamit yung legal medicine. Okay? These are branches of law in the Philippines. Andiyan yung mga tinatawag na mercantile law or law of commerce, taxation law, constitutional law, okay, labor law. Okay? Pero bihira natin gamitin dyan yan. Okay? Mas popular yung four branches of law. Now, speaking of, okay, meron tayong apat na korte. Okay? So, pinakamababa dyan, the lowest court, yung Metropolitan Trial Court and or Municipal Trial Court. Okay? So, yan yung mga kaso ng mga less serious physical injuries, serious physical injuries kasama dyan. Even yung mga reckless imprudence resulting to physical injuries or homicide, they can be tried in municipal trial court. Tapos yung mga murder, homicides, okay, rape, they are tried in regional trial courts, okay, and other cases as well. Now, if a person is convicted of murder, so pwedeng kung may death penalty yan, pwedeng husgahan yan ng death penalty ng judicial execution or it is life sentence, of course, yung defense counsel niya mag-a-appeal yan sa Court of Appeals. Hihingi sila ng decision sa Court of Appeals. Pag nag-failed sila sa Court of Appeals, sa Supreme Court naman. Automatic review of by the Supreme Court who will make the final decision. Pag nag-decision Supreme Court, wala nang pwedeng mag-question yan. Nagiging batas na yan. Okay? So these are the different courts here in the Philippines. Okay? Sabi yun, may family court, kasama na yan sa mga regional trial courts. Okay? Now, in those courts, we have to present this evidence. Tandaan nyo yung definition, guys. Evidence. Ganyan-ganyan yung lumabas sa board exam 2 years ago. The means functioned by the rules of court of ascertaining in a judicial proceeding the truth respecting a matter of fact. Okay? So, ito yung mga cases na, let's say, nakarecover tayo ng knife sa crime scene, i-present natin yan. Okay? So, important to determine admissibility, materiality, and relevance. Okay? So, limitation ng evidence is, pag sinabing may privileged communication, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin. Hearsay evidence is not accepted as well. And then, spousal privilege communication. Okay, sinabi ng suspect sa asawa niya, hindi niya pwedeng sabihin. Okay? Example ng evidence is a medical evidence. Pag medical evidence deployed to prove a fact is medical in nature. Okay? Now, ano ba yung mga types na yan? Ito yung autoptic or real evidence. So these are evidence made known or pressed to the senses of the court. Yan yung dinadala natin sa court. Okay, as evidence. Okay? Testimonial evidence, when we as medical legal officer or physicians being commanded by the court to give our oral testimony or verbal testimony. Okay, remember guys, there are two types of witnesses. Okay? So may tinatawag tayong ordinary witness. So he testifies on matters he perceived from his patient in the course of physician-patient relationship or based on your perception. Okay? So as an ordinary witness, kung ano lang yung nakita, narinig, okay, naamoy, natikman, yun yung mga sasabihin mo sa court. As an ordinary witness, you are not allowed to give opinion. Okay? So, ganito, nakita mo si isang lalaki, sinaksak. Ganun lang. Hindi mo alam kung namatay siya doon sa saksak na yan. Okay? Ordinary witness. Yun. Yung expert witness, guys, yan, they testified in court on account of his training and experience. And he can be allowed by the court to give his expert opinion on set of medical facts, and he can deduce or infer something, okay, and determine the cause of death. He can also, yung sinabi ko nga, they can render opinion pertinent to the issue and medical nature. Ano pa, paano yung mag-expert witness? I have testified in more than 5,000 cases na as an expert. So, pwede kang tanungin ng court, which injury is considered fatal? Okay? So, sasabihin mo doon kung ano yung, in your opinion, in my opinion, the injury that caused the death of this person is the stab wound located on the chest that pierced or perforated the heart. Ba, yun, expert opinion. Or what is the possible position of the victim when he was attacked by the assailant? So based on the injury sustained of the victim, it is possible that that the assailant is directly in front of the victim when he was injured or was stabbed by the suspect. That is an expert opinion. Okay. Experimental evidence, on the other hand, is the medical witness may be allowed by the court to confirm his allegation or as corroborative proof to an opinion he previously stated. So sabihin niya, the victim died from, uh, let's say, arsenic acid poisoning. So pwedeng magkaroon ng experiment sa courtroom. Okay? Na-allowed yan. Magdadala ka ng experimental animal like a rat and then you will inject that sa toxic substance. Okay? Experimental yan, pero bihira naman gawin na yan. Documentary evidence, ito yung mga instrument on which is recorded by means of letters, figures, marks, intended for recording the matter and can be evidentially used. So pag sinabi natin documentary evidence, sinasabi natin sa court, tatanungin ka sa statutory rape. Let's say, ngayon ang age of statutory rape, kaya 16 years old and below. Okay. So, titingnan nyo, birth certificate. Okay. Kung talaga siyang less than 16 years of age. Then, autopsy report. Yan. Laboratory results. Okay. Exhumation results. Okay. Of course, death certificate. Pipresent yan sa korte. Okay, even medical expert opinion. Kadalasan ngayon, hinihinga na lang ako ng medical expert opinion, yung tinatawag natin yung mga judicial affidavits, okay, na hinihingi ng mga prosecutor or defense counsel. Okay, so yan ang mga example ng documentary evidence. And lastly, you have physical evidence. Okay, articles, materials which are found in connection with the investigation and which aid in establishing the identity of the perpetrator or circumstances under which the crime was committed. In general, it assists in the prosecution of the criminal. So, yung physical evidence natin, tatlong klase. Corpus delicti evidence. Pag sinabi ng corpus delicti, body of the crime. Okay? So, these are objects or substances which may be a part of the body of the crime. Okay? So, of course, yung body of the victim. Pag walang body of the victim, wala tayong kaso. So, bypass operation dahil may drugs, kailangan may makuha tayong drugs sa bulsa niya o hawak niya yung suspected drugs. Or lumaban sa pulis. So, nandiyan dapat yung weapon, whether it's a knife or a gun. And of course, kung riding in tandem yan, dapat na-recover din yung motor vehicle. Okay? Kamukha ng mga nakikita natin sa news. Recently, yung the driver, tapos pinatay, tinapon nila doon sa Nueva Ecija, yung sasakyan. So, pinapresent din yung papipresent yan yung sasakyan niya. Okay, TNVS driver. Associative evidence, on the other hand, link a suspect to the crime. Paano ka malilink? Na-recover doon yung fingerprints mo. Okay? Footprints mo, nag-match sa'yo. Clothing, naiwan mo damit mo doon sa crime scene. Associative evidence. Yan. Yan yung may pwede tayo makakuha rin ng DNA. Trace evidence. Evidence which may assist the investigator in locating the suspect. So, yan yung mga manifesto, yung mga records ng passenger list. Sumakay ka ng aeroplano, madaling i-check yan kung destination mo, andun yung pangalan mo. Ship manifest. Although unreliable dito sa Pilipinas yung ship manifest kasi lalagay nila dyan capacity 300 passengers tapos nung lumubog 3,000 pala yung passengers. Like Princess of the Stars na barko, na vessel. Okay? So, medyo unreliable. Medical records, of course, matitrace yan kung na-hospital. Then, blood stains. Example pa niyan, mga hair strands or hair fibers, okay, or cloth fibers. These are examples of trace evidence. Okay, so those are the three types of physical evidence. Now, how are you going to preserve them? So you preserve them by photograph. Picture ka agad yan. Okay, pwede mo i-video. Okay, and then yung mga documents pwede sa microfilms, photostat, okay, or even Xerox them to duplicate them. Voice tracing. Okay? Then, nandun na yung audio and video natin, dinagdag ko lang yung CCTV, yung closed circuit televisions. Napakarami na ngayon, lalo na yung tinatawag na NCAP. Di ba? So, nagkabit yan, maraming kinabit sa mga footbridges na CCTVs. Okay? So, you might be caught. So, ganun ngayon, napaka-useful niyang CCTVs ngayon sa mga commission of the crime na identify yung suspect. Okay, sketching is where you draw a sketch of the crime scene as well as the physical evidences in the crime scene. Pag nando ka sa crime scene, nag-sketch ka dyan, that is what you call the rough sketch. Okay? Then, when you arrive in the office, you prepare computerized na yung sketch mo. May mga triangulation na yan, may mga measurement na yan, actual measurement indicated. That is what you called finish sketch. Kinasabit yan sa court, by ng SOCO. Description is putting towards the person or thing to be preserved. Example, yung mga skin lesion na nakita, penetrating wounds, hymenal laceration. Okay, sabihin mo doon sa witness, sabi ng witness, may saksakusi sa dibdib. So, sige, sabihin ng pulis, tandaan mo ha, left side, my dog is birth. Okay? Okay? So, description method. Okay? Marketing method is model. Miniature model of or of a human body. Of various aspects that things be preserved. So, pag sinabi natin mannequin, mga small scale models. Okay, pag nakikita, nilalagay yan ng mga pilis sa illustration board, ilalagay yung maliit na bahay dyan, representing the house, the car, and then the human body. Okay, maliit lang yun. Mannequin or miniature model or small scale models. Dinidikit lang nila doon yan. Okay? And then, ito, very unreliable. Preservation in the mind of the witness. So, a person who perceives something relevant for proper adjudication of a case may be a witness in court. It has the power to transmit to others what he perceives. It's just a recital of his collection. Diba, nakita mo yung crime scene, nakita mo yung suspect doon. Sinaksak yung biktima, namatay. Tapos nakita mo, kinuha niya yung bag or wallet. Okay? So, supposedly, yun ang sasabihin mo sa court. Nakilala mo yung suspect. Pero, most of the time, nadidismiss yung kaso kasi sasabihin ng witness mo, hindi na niya makilala yung suspect. Hindi niya alam kung may kinuha doon sa suspect. Hindi niya alam kung may weapon na ginamit yung suspect. Yan. Yan ang mga sa reality yan nangyayari. Kahit sa investigative procedures, magugulat na lang kay sa court. Sabihin ng pulis, hindi ko matandaan yung suspect na hinuli namin. Hindi ko matandaan kung ilang grams yung na-recover namin sa crime scene. Okay? Yan ang nangyayari sa real life. Okay? And then you have the special methods. Okay, yung mga special methods na yan, yung example, pipreserve mo yung patay. Okay? So, sa Pilipinas, saka sa ibang bansa na sa Asian countries, pinipreserve natin yan by embalming. Pa-preserve mo. So, you preserve the body by using 70% formaldehyde solution. 70% lang yan. And 5 to 6 quarts or liters of this embalming fluid is injected. Okay? And this will be enough to preserve the body for 7 days. So kung mag-extend kayo, mag-infuse ulit sila ng formalin solution. 70% lang. Pag 100%, masusunog yung body. Okay? Mangingitim. Okay? Now, in autopsy, we collect small tissues. Kukuha tayo ng tissues dyan. Yan yung paprocess sa histopathological exam. So, pag kinolekta natin yan sa autopsy, lalagay lang natin sa maliit na container yan that have 10% formalin. So, immerse natin yan tissue section from the brain down to the prostate sa lalaki o ovaries sa babae. Okay, o sa other internal organs. So, maliliit na section yan, pipreserve yan ng 10% formalin. Then, other evidence like fresh blood, fresh urine sample, they can be preserved by refrigeration, putting them in sealed containers, and of course, yung mga addition of chemical preservative, yung mga EDTA tube natin. Yung mga test tubes ngayon, may mga chemical preservatives na yan para hindi mag-blood clot. Okay? Air drying or in the book of Solis, drying lang yan. Okay? But in practice, seminal stains, blood stains should be preserved by air drying. Kailangan air drying in an enclosed space. Wag sa open. Okay? Remember that blood stains, if you expose it to direct sunlight, it will destroy all those blood components that we can use for identification. Same with seminal fluid. So, ang lalagay mo yan, lagay mo lang sa covered area, huwag ka mag-electric fan or mag-aircon, it will contaminate kasi the evidence. Just let it dry naturally. Yan ang procedure yan. Huwag mong sasabit yung basang-basa ng dugo, dalhin mo na kaagad, lagay mo sa bag, dinala mo sa laboratory. Mag-i-stale yan. Okay? Sa layo nung biyahe sa traffic. Better to air dry it. Freezing, of course, particularly in seminal fluids. Pwede mo i-preserve yan, yung tinatawag natin cryo-freezing. Okay? Instant yan, mag-freeze ka agad yung seminal fluid. And then in cases that involve poisons, okay, placing them in sealed container. Yung mga tin containers yan, pwede yan. Lalagay natin yung mga toxic substances. Okay? So these are the different methods of preserving evidence. Okay? So two kinds of evidence necessary for conviction. Dito sa Philippine setup, meron tayong direct evidence. So pag sinabing direct evidence, that which proves a fact in dispute without the aid of any inference or presumption. Okay? Precise yan or actual point of issue. Nakita ko si Pedro sinaksak si Juan gamit ang isang kutsilyo. Okay? So, na-identify mo siya. So, nahuli yung si Pedro, dala-dala niya yung bloodstain na knife. Tapos nakita mo nakahiga si Juan. Direct evidence yun. Hawak niya yung bladed weapon. Okay? O nahuli nila, nakapatong siya dun sa biktima, nire-rape niya. Okay? Then yung seminal fluid na recover din doon. Okay? Circumstantial evidence, the proof of or facts which taken either singly or collectively the existence of a particular fact and dispute may be inferred as a necessary or probable consequence. Okay? So pag circumstantial evidence, kailangan it may have one or more. Let's say it's usually more than one circumstance. Kailangan din. Hindi pwedeng isa lang. Okay? And then sa circumstantial evidence, you have to create theories or inference. Okay? Ito kaya yung knife na ginamit? Ito kaya yung dugo nito galing doon sa body ng biktima? Okay? So, during the analysis, okay, forensic analysis, ma-identify niyo dyan. Oh, positive. Yung dugo ng kutsilyo, ng knife, blood type ng biktima. Okay? So, circumstances yun. Parang mga ginagamit na as corroborative evidence. Combination of all these circumstances so as to produce conviction beyond reasonable doubt. Kasi tandaan nyo yung dalawang definition na yan, tumalabas yan sa board exam. Okay, either circumstantial or direct evidence. Okay, ayun. So, that is our first lecture. Okay, so we're through with the orientation, then the history and development of forensic medicine, and then introduction to forensics, and then evidence, and then the different kinds of evidence. Okay? Ngayon lang tayo magkakaroon ng lecture, ha? Susunod, questions and answer na tayo next sa Monday. So sa Monday, ang topic natin sa Monday, physical identification. Okay? Physical identification, yan yung mga ordinary methods of identification, yung scientific methods of identification. Okay, kasama na dyan yung mga DNA, forensic anthropology, okay, and of course radiology, fingerprint, and then document examination as well. And of course yung forensic odontology. Okay, that is for next week. So I advise you to read on those PowerPoint presentation there. Okay, pina-upload sa akin yung merong daw recording. So, okay, so try to upload it tonight. Okay, i-upload ko na dyan almost all the PowerPoint presentation, guys. Okay, so warning, discussion lang tayo doon. And expect a quiz to be given on Monday, your first quiz. So, ano yung topic natin na yun? Diniscuss ko ngayon, yan ang coverage ng quiz ninyo. Okay, that will be the coverage of your first graded quiz nyo. Okay, so sa introduction hanggang sa evidence. Okay, do you have any questions, guys? Hmm? Is it fast? Is it slow? Okay, oh, may question si ma'am. Ma'am Tina. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Vlad, I just would like to remind some of the students, you put your labels as second year, section B, second year, section A, third year na kayo. Own it.
Hindi
3A,
ko na
3B,
napansin yun. Talaga?
3A, 3B, 3C na kayo. Okay?
So, old pa rin yun, ano?
Oo. 2A, 2B
Bigla.
nakalagay. Okay? So
Ay,
let's
oo
change
nga, ito
your,
may
ano,
nakita
change
ko,
your
2B.
labels, ha? Yeah.
Ang
Third year,
Wanigante, 2B. Wala pang picture. Oo nga, I see. Oh, I saw it. Mayroong mga 2Bs pa. Oo, ayaw nyo ata mag-third year eh. Ha? Okay, may verify lang. Doc, verify ko lang. Medical legal officer notarial license, medical examiner. Ha? Pag sinabi natin medical examiner, medical legal din yun, guys. Of course, pagka medical legal, licensed physician yan. Okay? Hmm? Doc, wala pa po sa canvas yung legmin. Nakapublish na yan. LMMJ, Legal Medicine and Medical Jurisprudence. Baka nakalagay dyan capital LMMJ. Stands for Legal Medicine and Medical Jurisprudence. It was already published. Nandiyan nga yung ano nyo, links eh. Okay? Nandiyan na sa announcement. Okay? So definitely it is published. Clarification ng quiz nyo. Ang question next week, yung coverage nga nitong introduction, saka itong evidence. What we have discussed today, that will be your quiz. Okay? Di mo, may naiwan pa tayo, almost 20 minutes pa. So, yung quiz nyo sa Canvas. Hmm? Canvas yon, Proctor yon. Nandyan ako during the quiz. Hmm? Ay, nako. Paano to? Doc, irregular po ako. Wala po ako sa Canvas. Wala po ako. Oo nga, ano, paano yun? Ah, kung irregular ka, kailangan you should enroll sa Canvas. Mhm. I think you should coordinate with the level coordinator kay Ma'am MPT. Tanong mo doon, paano kayo may enroll sa Canvas if you are not a regular student. So, ayusin nyo na this week so that you can access the Canvas, guys. Kasi all of our quizzes will be there. Okay? Next again, okay? Sana ganyan kayo sa discussion natin. Maraming tanong. Okay, good afternoon, Doc. Need po ba two devices for the proctored quiz? Hindi na. Open nyo lang yung, open nyo lang yung video cam nyo. Okay? Maiksi lang yung quiz nyo, ha? Maximum niya 15 points, 15 items. Okay? Sa long exam tayo nagaganyan, nag-two devices. Kung hindi face-to-face. Pero I think it will be a face-to-face long exam. Okay? Ano pa? Meron pa kayong questions, guys? Okay. Hanggang any more questions? Well, you can type it here. Okay? Mhm. Ma'am Nati, may tanong kayo? Well, naka-mute po kayo.
How
Yes,
long?
ma'am.
Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Narinig mo.
How long can 70% formalin preserve tissues? How
Ah,
long? Up to
human body po, 7 days po.
7 days lang?
Apo, tapos magre-reinfuse po ng panibago. Mhm.
Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Welcome, ma'am. So, ganun lang tayo dapat sa next week, ha? Any more questions, clarification? Okay. Sino ang pinaka-overall LO nyo sa level sa third year? Meron ba kayo o may ABC president kayo? Advise the liaison or the chief liaison officer or your class president to create a Viber group tayo. Okay? Faster yung ating coordination, guys. Kung may Viber group. Section A, B, or C. Kung may overall, okay lang yon. Isang Viber group lang tayo, guys. Okay? It will be easier. Okay? Warning lang sa inyo, do not take legal medicine, medical jurisprudence for granted kasi as I mentioned earlier, it's a board subject. Okay? It is a standalone subject sa board exam equivalent with surgery, pediatrics, OBGYN, etc., family med. Okay? So, huwag nyo i-disregard yan. And more importantly, okay, may bumabagsak sa subject na to. Okay? May bumabagsak. Okay? So, sabi ko nga sa inyo, walang removal remedial exam. So, pagbagsak kayo sa overall computation ng grades, sorry na lang. Okay? So, do not take it for granted, this subject. Okay? Madali lang ang legal medicine, medical jurisprudence. Ngayon, mas madali yung setup natin because you'll be concentrating only on one module. During the first long exam, puro legal medicine lang. Unlike before, ang setup namin, 50% sa legal med, 50% sa medical jurisprudence. Okay? And medyo nagugulo isip ng estudyante kasi halo yung law with forensic. Okay? Nagkakagulo. So ngayon, titingnan natin doon sa bagong setup kung gaganda yung grades ninyo. Okay? Do clarify lang po, before or after class po yung quiz next week? Sa time ko, usually I give the quiz on the last 15 minutes. Last 15 minutes of my time. Kaya nasa 4:45 yan. Okay? Si Attorney Apostol sa medical jurisprudence niya, before the class yan. Okay? Yun ang style niya. Sa start ng class, may 15 minutes kayo, magsagot muna kayo. And then they'll have their discussion. Okay? So, anymore? Sana rin, ganyan sana tayo sa discussion. Marami kayong question. Okay? Meron pa ba? Hindi kami na-miss. So, na-verify ko na medical legal officer or medical examiner, licensed physician. Okay? With background in forensic pathology. So, no more? If there are no questions, okay. Faculties, thank you very much for attending the orientation and lecture in forensic medicine. And then, oh, may isa pang question pala. So, clarify lang po, after class, wala tayong quiz next after class. It should be within the 2 hours limit. So, sabi ko nga, 4:45 in the afternoon ang quiz natin. Okay, so it's before pa ng 5 o'clock. Okay, so that usually the quiz is given that time. Oh, maliwanag na yung clarification natin. Okay, sumagot na. Okay, so again, thank you very much for today's attendance. Okay, lagi kayong ganyan, dami nyo. And then, welcome again to your legal medicine and medical jurisprudence subject. Okay, so I'll see you on Monday, and I'm already wishing you good luck on your first quiz. Sana maging first impression is lasting, guys. Okay. And take it seriously. Okay, guys, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the week. Ma'am, thank you
Okay.
po. Ma'am
Thank
Tina, thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.